Good morning, everyone. So we're back again with a big weekend analysis on what we see the markets doing for us in the coming week. The last week was eventful. I assessed what the markets did in a small video in my group, and the result was that we remained mainly sideways, giving us about 49-point range in the Bank Nifty, and roughly about you can say about 500-600 points in the Nifty. That was the range that we remained within, but the undertone was slightly on the bearish side. FIs have been putting out money like they just want to get out of India in a hurry, and that's hurting the markets for sure. Without wasting a lot of time on what has happened in the week, because you've been you've been witness to what happened. Not to say much about what happened. Now we've got to see and look at what's happening on the charts and what are we looking at in the future and what are the levels that will count in the days to come. So this is the trajectory that I already have prepared, not so as not to waste your time on the live session. So we have the yellow trajectory, which is giving us a range between 23,920 odd to 25 4,540. That's a 600-point range within which we can again crisscross the tops and the bottoms. And if we remain sideways, we don't see a major news event or a news catalyst driving us lower or higher. This could be the range that we would track in this week. And that's very possible because the major volatility period of the market may have gone with the US elections already done, and we may begin to settle down. Trump may begin to make a few waves, but maybe in this week it'll be a little slow because policy is being framed. He may come out with a few things that could affect our markets if he is on his Make in America or Make for America or be, for America, all that policy that he will carry with his, you know, America First rhetoric is going to cause some kind of ripples in the markets all over the world, especially in India, because US is a very major trading partner for India, and we depend a lot for our foreign trade and inflows from there. Anyway, so this is what the yellow trajectory would track. In case we see here something positive and Trump surprises us, we could head higher. And then 25,400, the first possibility in this week, that would give us about 1,000 points, which would be remarkable, given the scheme of things. On the pessimistic side, this is what the likely scenario to me is. We are going to move down. I'm not trying to sound some alarm bells, but everything around and the recent earnings reports from the Indian corporates has not been very encouraging. And I have a general feeling that we are looking at a downward cycle uh, in our markets because we have seen euphoria, we have seen the build up, we have seen a lot of signs that the bubble was being created, and it was not so hunky dory that and the markets have ran up higher than what the actual performance on the ground was, and we could be looking at some kind of a short term correction bringing us back to levels that are more realistic and more in tune with what the corporate performances are and what are the results we're getting. So that could lead us down to the red trajectory, which in my case, I'm not being very, very pessimistic about that. But yes, about 500 to 600 point downward spiral could take us down to 23,170. And if we reach 23,170, I'm afraid we could be looking at this level to 23,000 and then 22,680. These are very possible scenarios, not in this week. I'm not saying in this week, in the coming week, but in the future scheme of things. Let's look at Bank Nifty now and see what Bank Nifty has in store for us. Similar track, Bank Nifty was a little more resolute than the Nifty, and we saw sideways movement with a 49-point range. We went lower, and then we dipped back and went up and hit the top of our range in the last week. In the last week, our yellow trajectory was peaking out somewhere around this level, which was 52,700. But this week, my expectations have been lowered, and I expect the peak of the yellow trajectory to be 52,400. This is where I see we peaking out in this cycle of sideways direction. And if The lower end of that range of the sideways range would be 51,200. So that would be roughly about 1,200 points worth of movement if we are in a sideways range with the top at 52,400 and the bottom at 51,200. That could be the range that we could play. Like always, we could get surprises from the market, and the blue trajectory, once it crosses about 52,200, would take us to 53,400, which is uh, pretty optimistic. I don't think we're looking at this, but then the markets can always surprise us, and there's nothing wrong if they do, because we would be happy to be surprised on the upside with all our portfolios, long-term portfolios. Uh, have taken a beating, and a little relief could be a happy moment for all of us. And then talking about finally what I see is the most probable scenario. We could be tracking down, not too steeply, yes, but the moment we breach this threshold of 51,200, that could lead us lower to 50,800 and then 50,540, 50,004 or 50,400. And finally, in my mind, in the coming days, we could be facing 49,400 odd. Maybe not in the coming week, but soon we could be tracking down to this level, which I think is something which is on the cards. Now, I'm just extending my analysis for this week because I have worked on the long-term scenario. Because if you're into stocks and if we need to make trading decisions, we need to take trading decisions to what's happening in the markets for us, going a little longer than the weekly session, because we're at the start of November. We are going to peak out the year in December. So let's look at what is the scenario in the long-term weeklies. Now, here what I do is I use my concept of fair value gaps as a marker for me as to which side is dominating the markets right now. I'm talking about the bulls and the bears. And I look at what are the levels where the bears were active, what are the levels where the bulls were active, and what's happening. So what I see here is on this chart, this is again a weekly chart. I'm breaking it down. I'm trying to understand what are the areas where we found those imbalances, because when the imbalances are created, that's when the intentions of the bulls and the bears get reflected on the chart. And currently, we are in a position where the bulls were active somewhere in the area around 24th in the month of June. At the end of the month of June is where we formed this formation, which was a bullish formation, and this is where we are finding support at this point of time. Last week we tracked down to this level and we were pushed back up, not follow up with that action. Since we didn't see follow up, there are two things that can happen. The two likely scenarios is that we could go to 25,200 from here. That would be one scenario. And then we would have some kind of a resistance at this level, which is again something that is going to act as a barrier. This is something that is going to act as a resistance going forward. And then if we track down, there's a small level somewhere around here at 23,260, which was the next support that the market will offer us. Again, signified by this formation, which was in the first week of June. So we are looking at a grim scenario of getting to that under 24,000 and to the 23,000 earlies in the coming time. That's the bias that I have. So my monthly bias is definitely bearish. For the month of November, I am bearish. So that's my monthly bias for November. I'm being very vocal about this. I am bearish for this month. Let's look at Bank Nifty and see what the Bank Nifty is giving us. Bank Nifty is giving us a similar view. We are in the recent price action in the last week. We have seen that we've gone up, tracked some kind of a high. We've taken liquidity from the top here at 52,650 odd, and now we are beginning to fall. This is the futures chart, guys. So I'm not referring to the spot chart. I'm referring to the futures chart. We've taken up some liquidity at this level, and then we have fallen. Once you fall from this liquidity, there's a very huge chance that you will track it down to the next swing low, which is the 50,400 point. And it might take us 4 weeks. By the end of maybe November or the beginning of December, the middle of December, I see 50,400 coming. So this is where we are destined to travel to. So mark your charts, guys. 50,400 in the short term, in the next 45 days, 30 to 45 days. we could be heading to 50,400 is my assessment after looking at the charts that I have in front of me. That's it for this weekend. Hope you guys get value from what I dish out here. These are markers. You need to understand that these are my readings, and I reserve the right to be wrong because the markets are meant to prove you wrong. If you can predict the market so easily, then there's no there would be no market, because then everybody would be on the right side of things. Because the nature of the market is that it's unpredictable. We as readers of the chart try to decipher what it is telling us. We try to foretell what is looking at us at this point of time. The markers can change, the scenario can change given the news factors that float around. There are a lot of things, a lot of variable factors that play in the market, and things can change. But what we're doing here is trying to assess based on what we are seeing on the charts at this point of time. So yes, I'd like to encourage you to comment on this video. I'd like you to share it, like it, subscribe to this channel if you find value. There's a very simple logic that I use to assess my charts, and we are coming good on our assessment every time I bring you these analysis. If you wish to go back and track what we've done, go back, see the past 4 videos, see the trajectories that I have presented, and see how the markets have performed. We've exactly tagged the levels that we have expected week on week, week on week. And yeah, you can only profit if you stick to your psychology, stick to the reading, and that's a challenge. That's a different challenge. But as far as reading the charts go, we have been bang on, and yeah, we've been doing well with our chart reading. So with that said, I'm going to end this video, and not trying to alarm you, yes, but be cautious with your longs. Stick to the long-term charts, and you will do good in your trading. That's it. Thank you. Have a lovely week, guys. Play safe and have a wonderful trading session today. Thank you.